Welcome to RH School. In today's lesson, you are going to be introduced to equations. So what is an equation? So what I have on the screen is basically two algebraic expressions that are equal. So an equation is when two algebraic expressions are equal. And what's an algebraic expression? It's simply a mathematical statement that has a constant. Now a constant is basically a number. So 3 is a constant, 5 is a constant, and going back to what I was saying, an algebraic expression is a mathematical statement with constants and variables. And what's a variable? Variable is what we have in this example, such as x. It is basically something that's unknown. Right. So when a question asks you to solve an equation, it simply means that you have to find the unknown value. So if we look at the example of 3 plus x is equals to 5, and I compare it to a two-sided scale, if I have to place 3 apples on one side, in this case the left-hand side, and I put 5 apples on the right-hand side, surely the side of the scale with 5 apples would weigh more. But in order to make sure that this scale is balanced and equal in weight, we need to find out how many apples to add to the left-hand side to make it both 5 apples on each side. Now, through inspection, just by looking at it, you can tell me immediately that we need 2 more apples. So in this case, that is basically what we are also trying to do with an equation. Since the equal sign tells us that the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side, we need to find the value of the unknown that would make both sides equal. So, if the right-hand side in this case is 5 apples, and we have the left-hand side with only 3 apples, we have to add 2 to make it 5. That is simple. You can see that just by looking at it through inspection, but there is a specific way or method to find out how to solve an equation, how to find the unknown value. So let's explore that. If I take the same example of 3 plus 5 is equals to x, I'm using the same example just for explanation purposes. The rule is that you get the variable alone. In this case, our variable, our unknown, is x. So we would get x alone. And what does this mean? We do this by getting rid of the 3. And how do we do that? By minusing it on each side of the equal sign. So then that would be 3 plus x minus 3 is equals to 5 minus 3. And why do we minus 3 on each side? If we think back to the analogy or the comparison of the two-sided scale, if I take 3 apples from one side, I have to take 3 apples from the other side as well to ensure that the scale is still balanced, right? So if there's 5 apples on both sides, and I still want to make sure they're balanced, if I take out 3 on one side, I have to take out 3 on the other side so that there's still 2 on each side, something like that. That is why with equations, what you do to the one side, you have to do to the other side. Very important. So now let's solve the equation. 3 plus x minus 3, I can write it like that. And what do we know? 3 minus 3 is 0. 0 is nothing, so I can just leave it out. And we have our x, so I'll put that in as well. And 5 minus 3 is equals to 2. So therefore x is equals to 2. Why don't you give it a try? Try to solve this one out on your own. Pause the video, try it out, and I will do the solution in a bit. Right. So once you tried it out, let's Let us check how to solve for x in the specific example question. Rather, x plus 4 is equals to 11. So, if we want to isolate or get x alone, we need to minus 4 on each side, right? We need to apply the inverse operation. So, what is an inverse operation? It is the operation that would have a cancelling effect, right? So the inverse operation of addition is subtraction. The inverse operation of multiplication is division. So going back to the solution, x plus 4 minus 4 is equals to 11 minus 4. And we know 4 minus 4 is 0. So we'll just, that is basically x plus 0 is equals to 7. And anything plus 0 will not affect it. So x is equals to 7. You can also check if your answer is correct, and we do that by solving for the left hand side and the right hand side. So on the left hand side we have the expression x plus 4, and to check it we will substitute in our value for x. When you substitute a value in for x or any variable, you're basically taking the number and you're putting it in place of. So when you substitute, you should always put it in parentheses or brackets, and that gives us 7 plus 4, and that equals 11. Now you check. Let's check. The right hand side is equals to 11. And what do you see? They're balanced, right? They are equal. The left hand side is equal to the right hand side. Therefore, x is equals to 7. There's a quicker way to do it. Instead of subtracting or adding on both sides, depending on what is given in equation, to isolate x, there is a different way to do it, a quicker way to do it. So I have the equation 6 plus x plus 8 is equals to 23. So these are the steps to solve for it. You would simplify on each side first if necessary. In this case, yes, we can simplify because we have 6 plus 8, so we'll simplify that in a bit. The second step is to collect all variables or unknowns on one side and to collect all the constant or numbers to the other side, right? So let's do that. Let's simplify first. 6 plus 8 is 14. 14 plus, right? So let's put that down. I have it over here. 14 plus x is equals to 23. Now we want to get the variables on one side. Now we'll just keep x where it is. So there we have it on one side. And now we'll take the constants or the numbers to the other side. So let's do that. Very important thing to note with this method is that when you take a number to the other side, what do you see? It becomes a minus. So there's an invisible plus sign in front of the 14. When you take a number over the equal sign, just an important note, when a number variable is taken over the equal sign, its sign changes. That's why it becomes minus 14. And x then is equals to 9 because 23 minus 14 is 9. Now time for you to give it a try. Why don't you try this problem over here? Simply pause the video, give it a try, and I will do the solution after that. Just then you can just play the video again. So in this question, we are given 7 plus 13 plus x plus 4 is equals to 29. So let's simplify. 7 plus 3 is 20 plus x plus 4 is 29. You could add it all in one go, but I'm just doing this for a step-by-step explanation purposes, right? So 20 plus x plus 4 is 29. Then we can say 20 plus 4 is 24 plus x is equals to 29. And now we're going to collect all our variables on one side and all the constants to the other side. So if I take the 24 over the equal sign, it will become a minus 24. Remember, when a number variable is taken over the equal sign, its sign changes. So x is then equals to 29 minus 24, and that gives us